Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Esther Githui-Ewart in Washington. 2/3 of the world's population currently lives with water shortages at least part of the year, according to one estimate. And climate change and growing populations are expected to stretch water supplies even further. Experts are looking for new ways to capture this precious resource. In some places, they are harvesting water from fog. VOA Steve Baragona has more.
Rain is rare in Chihuahua Province, Chile, just south of the Atacama Desert. Just 50 millimeters fall per year on average. What they do get here is fog. With the decade-long drought straining the already limited water supply, these fog catchers are a salvation, says agricultural engineer Pedro Hernandez.
There are communities that don't have water availability, so the fog catcher allows them to have what they didn't have before for specific agricultural activities, etc.
As the fog drifts over the hills, these mesh nets capture droplets of water, which drip into a collector. They provide enough water to sustain a new olive grove. It has been a lifeline for farmer Ricardo Alvarez.
I think this is something beautiful that we were waiting for, because before we lived from goat livestock. They have been bad years, so the livestock doesn't give enough to live. The sons are migrating to the city for work, so we were looking to have an opportunity with olives, and this project appeared, and we have to go with it.
Alvarez says the olives provide a future for the next generation and could save his community. Scientists say these fog harvesters could work better. Most are made of mesh netting, says Virginia Tech engineer Jonathan Borico.
The problem with that is if the netting is too big, the droplets sail right through the holes, and if the netting is too small, the water gets clogged in the holes. So either way you lose, you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Borico and colleagues have developed what they call a fog harp. It has no horizontal wires, nothing to get in the way as gravity pulls water droplets down. It captures 3 times more water than a mesh net. Another way to make the mesh work better? Zap it with electricity, says Massachusetts Institute of Technology engineer Kripa Varanasi.
The electrical force then fundamentally changes the way droplets move. Instead of following the wind stream lines, they now follow electrical field lines, and a much larger percentage of these droplets now gets captured.
When the current switches on, hardly any mist can get past the electrified mesh. Varanasi's main goal is to collect mist from power plant cooling towers. But in cities like Cape Town, South Africa, where water is literally running out, he says the technology is far cheaper than other options like desalination. Steve Baragona, VOA News.
It's a little less than a year ago that Zimbabweans were on the streets rejoicing over the removal of former President Robert Mugabe in November. The country's first presidential election after almost 4 decades of Mugabe's rule, which held last month, brought renewed hope for the country's democracy. Incumbent President Emmerson Mnangagwa emerged winner, but the opposition is still contesting the results. It's a combination of high expectations and frustration for many who cast their votes. Have a look.
32-year-old Delation Dongo, a father of 2, has been driving his yellow taxi around Harare for the last 3 years. He was one of the thousands of voters who went to a polling station on July the 30th with so much excitement. It was the first vote for Zimbabwe since Robert Mugabe was forced out of power in a coup after 37 years in power. His former deputy Emmerson Mnangagwa took over with help from the army in what many Zimbabweans called a second liberation.
Yes,
the voting day was hailed as peaceful, but the opposition MDC claimed results were inaccurate and the election was rigged in favor of Mr. Mnangagwa. Supporters took to the streets in protest, and in response, soldiers and tanks rolled into the capital. 6 people were killed in the violence. Dongo voted for the opposition Nelson Chamisa, a leader of the Movement for Democratic Change MDC. He says he's not surprised by the outcome of Mnangagwa's victory, but was disappointed. But 29-year-old Alexio Karimatsinge says he's pleased with the results and is eager to see what Mnangagwa will do for Zimbabwe in the next 5 years. Karimatsinge sells fruits and vegetables in Harare. He's among 1 million informal vendors in Zimbabwe forced into the sector by unemployment. He believes Mnangagwa can deliver stability.
I voted for ZANU-PF because with what I do, it's the only party that can make me work freely without any hindrance.
Dongo is among some Zimbabweans who have lost hope for democracy in Zimbabwe, but hopes the president can at least deliver what he promised.
Is he able to do as what he said? But as a caveman, I go around with the people, 2 or 3 head talking about, but most of the people in Harare, they are not celebrating, they are not enjoying the results.
Chamisa insists on pursuing all legal means necessary to challenge the result, but some citizens are pleased with the outcome.
Emerson Mnangagwa is our man, and there will never be anyone who can rule this country until his term is finished.
Mnangagwa has urged Zimbabweans to unite and has vowed to be president for all Zimbabweans. He also declared that his rival Chamisa will have a vital role to perform in Zimbabwe's future.
The National Basketball Association visited South Africa in honor of what would have been Nelson Mandela's 100th birthday. Zahia Kasim looks back at the week from Pretoria.
The fans are ready for Team Africa to show the world what they got. Led by all-star big man Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers, the game was going to be spectacular. But for the NBA and its players, coming here to South Africa was more than a game. It was an opportunity to reach out to underprivileged communities and show the locals that the values of the sport can be applied to everyday life. Ennerdale is a poor community on the outskirts of Johannesburg. More than half of the people living in this town are unemployed and most likely don't know any of the players volunteering today. Even if one of those volunteers was Hall of Famer Dikembe Mutombo.
We believe in giving back. We believe that making our community a better place. We are here in South Africa to play our 3rd game in the continent, and we want to let know that we didn't come just to play the game, but we also come to see the community where our game is being played. Let them know that if there's anything else we can do, we want to be part of that change.
The 7 feet 2 inch Congolese giant is bending his back as he is laying brickwork on one of those 10 new homes sponsored by the NBA and Habitat for Humanity. Mother of 6 children, Grace Shosanisa, has a brief conversation with her fellow African compatriot.
He's talking with me, and then he told me he's very happy, and then he liked my name, like Grace. So I'm very happy.
Grace has no clue who Mutombo is, but it is this very essence why the trip is so important. It's not about the spin or the glory, but giving selflessly as Mandela did.
It was a great fortune for me to meet Grace today, to know that I'm here to help, I'm here to contribute, and I'm here to build the house that she's going to call home.
In his 2nd trip to the Rainbow Nation, 76ers point guard Jared Bayless says that he enjoys coming to the country and doing what he can in the little time that he has.
4 or 5 days at the most, and we're coming here, we're trying to build homes, we're trying to influence the community in that short time. So I think that the cynical nature of that people might feel isn't really true, because we're trying to do as much as we can in the time frame that we're actually here. And this country has been an unbelievable host to not only, like I said, the NBA, but the Players Association, and they partner with us to do as much as we can within this country in a short time. So I think us continuing just to help build and help be a part of this and be in the communities kind of takes away the cynical nature of what people might refer to that we're doing.
Although the scoreline had only one winner today, as Team World beat Team Africa 96-92, the game of basketball, its guiding principles of being fair, hard work, and cooperation will not be forgotten by the people of South Africa. Zahir Kasim for VOA, Pretoria, South Africa.
That's our show for today. I'm Esther Gidu in Washington. Chamberlain Uso has our last word from Lagos.
Well, thanks, Esther. We look forward to bringing you another show next week. ChannelsTV.com is your source for news, sports, and other programming. I'm Chamberlain Uso. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.